Welcome to A History of the Roman Republic. This is Melinda Klein. The Roman Republic entered the empire-building period relatively late in the scheme of things. After all, there were the Mesopotamians, the Greeks, Persians, and Egyptian empires already in full swing for centuries by the time the post-Trojan dynasty eventually in 753 BC founded Rome. The Romans were unlike the Greeks in some ways. First, they extended citizenship to foreigners and incorporated them into their systems. After 500 years, from 509 BC with Augustus, they had in place by the 1st century AD control over provincial areas around the Mediterranean, similar to what Alexander the Great had accomplished. Rome's achievements and influence in architecture, politics, culture, art, drama, philosophy, military prowess, and empire building spread from Britannica to India and Africa. From 169 BC until the transformation from republic into empire by 31 BC, with the Battle of Actium, Rome had become increasingly unstable and a violent place, marked in the final years of the Republic. Virgil was an ancient Roman poet, author of the Aeneid, among other works. According to the Roman legend, this origin history of the founding of Rome is often referenced back to the fall of Troy in the 12th century BC. According to this legend, the evening prior to the siege of Troy by the Spartans, Aeneas, a royal family member, led a number of others out while they escaped death or a lifetime of slavery if they had been captured by the Greeks. So the Trojan royal family, led by Aeneas, sailed for Italy and established the city of Alba Longa along the Tiber River. Aeneas and his descendants ruled as kings for 300 years. By 753, the future of Rome, after a political struggle, would lay with twin boys, Romulus and Remus. In the end, it would be Romulus that would lead Rome to its destiny. According to the legend, Mars, the god of war, was the father of the founder of Rome. This would be Romulus. Romans were more warlike than any other people in history. Archaeological evidence dates the founding of Rome at about 753 BC. While Italy had many ethnic peoples, the Romans became known as the Latin tribe because of their language. Romans would adopt Greek culture and developed alongside the Etruscans, who took over from 619 to 509 BC. After 509 and a political struggle, this was now the date that we call the birth of the Roman Republic. Rome became a polis with a government structure that was similar to the Greek polis. Like ancient Athens, Rome did not have a king or emperor, but citizen assemblies with voting that appeared to be democratic. In Rome, all male citizens, regardless of wealth, could vote. However, based on wealth, these citizens were placed in centuries, in which the century majority, that would be the vote within the century, would carry the motion. 98 of the 193 centuries were made up from people who had money. Therefore, in theory, the poorer people, 95% of the population, could not in any way supersede the political power of the wealthy. This was known as an oligarchy, a government ruled by the few. In Rome, there were two social classes: the patricians, who could trace their lineage back to the founding of Rome, they were the elitists, and the plebeians, this was 95% of the population. with the 200-year political peaceful process in which reforms were made. We know this as conflict of the orders. By 287, there were three significant reforms made. One would be intermarriage was now allowed between plebes and patricians. Number two was the creation of the tribune assembly. And number three, the tribunes now had veto power over the Senate, and this means that tribunes could block, if necessary, Senate laws from passing into new legislation. Why was Rome so successful in amassing such a huge empire for so long? Why was it so different from Greece? Because of the political power equation. Dignitas plus gloria equals auctoritas. Every Roman noble, male and female, were expected to contribute to their family honor and dignity. For men, this meant military accomplishment and entering into politics. For women, it meant a proper marriage that would contribute to the family honor. The quest for auctoritas, ultimate authority, kept Romans fighting year after year. From 263 to 168 BC, basically a century of warfare placed Rome as the supreme political authority in their world of trade, the Mediterranean Sea. They conquered powers of this world to expand the republic. We know this as imperialism. The three battle sequences listed here are significant to this effort, and they include the Carthaginian Wars with the Phoenicians, a significant loss for Rome when Hannibal crossed the Alps into Italy in 216, but later defeated, and war with the Macedonians by 168 BC. The Roman Revolution from 133 to 31 BC brought down the Roman Republic. It was replaced by then with monarchy. Senators by 133 were running the show in Rome. They often disagreed on policies and laws, and there was an immense competition to get elected too. Common arguments were 1. Policies and laws, 2. How Rome's money should be spent, and 3. How Rome's wars should be fought. Thus began a century of violence. Under Sulla, the tribunes had lost their ability and their political powers. To get elected as consul, Pompey gives back to the tribunes their political powers. He goes east and conquers 4 new provinces for Rome. But in efforts to control Rome, Pompey, Crassus, and Julius Caesar form the first triumvirate. But this political alliance, tied also personally by Julius Caesar, as his daughter Julia was married to Pompey, was not enough to hold the republic together. After much war and political struggles, by March 15, 44 BC, Julius Caesar is dead at the hands of other senators. Even though Julius Caesar had a son of his own by Cleopatra, Queen of Egypt, he left his money and his honor and dignity to Octavian, his nephew, and named him as his heir. Mark Antony, the commander of Caesar's legions, and Octavian, now the ruler in Caesar's place, in 43 BC formed the second political alliance, the second triumvirate, with Lepidus, a general and ally of Julius Caesar. However, after a power play by Cleopatra and Mark Antony, this would officially end the Roman Republic with the Battle of Actium, with Octavian ruling Rome as his own.